The fire had already left deep marks on Anna's body, but no burn hurt as much as the words she heard from Carlos. One quiet morning, without meeting her gaze, he dropped a short, icy, almost rehearsed sentence, "I can't be with you anymore." The coldness cut deeper than any flame. It felt as if her heart had been left among the rubble. Farewells like that never come alone. They carry the echo of abandonment, the weight of loneliness, and the sense of being discarded like something worthless. Anna didn't understand it immediately because, until then, she had believed in promises of eternal support. Only later did she realize that for him, her scars were a source of shame. For her, it was as if prejudice had changed its address. It left the streets and moved into her home. Interestingly, moments like this test our ability to endure. Anyone who has experienced a cold breakup knows that these aren't just words, they are knives leaving invisible scars. It's the regret that comes afterward, when you think, could I have done something differently? But deep down, the choice was never hers. If you've ever heard a harsh goodbye like that, you might understand the emptiness it leaves. It's as if the ground beneath your feet vanishes. Yet, at the same time, a seed is planted there, the seed of resilience. Because behind the pain of abandonment lies a hidden strength, waiting for the right moment to rise. And trust me, it comes to everyone who decides not to give up. The short circuit started small, a nearly imperceptible snap in the kitchen. In seconds, it became a fire that devoured everything: walls, memories, dreams. Anna was trapped, overcome with panic, smoke closing in on her every breath. It was then that brave neighbors broke down the door and dragged her outside, saving her life. The scene looked like something out of nightmare: flames licking the ceiling, the sound of collapsing objects, and the sense that the world itself was crumbling. Anna tried to scream, but the smoke burned her throat. What began as an electrical accident became a painful turning point, leaving not only physical wounds but emotional scars that would prove even harder to heal. When the fire was finally contained, all that remained was a landscape of destruction. But more serious than the burned furniture were the deep burns on her face and body. She would carry these marks forever and had no idea yet how to face the prejudice, the sidelong glances, and even the abandonment that would follow. At that moment, all she could feel was the unbearable pain of her wounded skin. It's striking how life can catch us off guard. A simple short circuit can change entire destinies. Often, the burns we bear don't come from fire, but from unexpected situations: sudden death, a surprise layoff, a cruel word. All of these leave marks. The difference lies in what we do with them. At the hospital, Carlos appeared with concerned look and soothing words. He promised support, saying he would stand by Anna no matter what. She believed him after all. He was the man with whom she shared dreams and plans. But over time, the tone of his visits changed, silences grew, gestures of affection dwindled, and his commitment seemed to dissolve like smoke. The real shock came when he began avoiding eye contact. The scars, which for Anna were reminders of survival, had become a source of shame for Carlos. Gradually, the hugs turned to distance, promises into excuses, and love into abandonment. It was as if prejudice had placed a blindfold over his eyes, preventing him from seeing the woman beyond her marks. Anyone who has gone through something similar knows how deeply emotional wounds can hurt. More than the burns on her skin, rejection eroded Anna's self-esteem. She wondered if she still had value, if she could still be loved. And here is a harsh lesson: when someone abandons us in our worst moments, they reveal more about their weakness than ours. This abandonment was cruel, but also necessary. It was in that emptiness that Anna would begin to discover her true strength. Pain can knock you down, yes, but it can also be the first spark of resilience. Sometimes, losing the support of someone we think is indispensable is exactly what forces us to look inward and find a power we didn't even know we had. After Carlos left, Anna faced the world in its rawest form. The stares on the street weren't compassionate, they were judgmental. Children whispered. Adults looked away as if she were invisible. Prejudice manifested around every corner, and loneliness became her only faithful companion. It was as if her scars shouted louder than her voice. Gradually, her self-esteem eroded. Anna no longer wanted to leave her home, avoided mirrors, even her own photos. Depression settled in like a heavy shadow, bringing a constant sense of abandonment. She asked herself, is there still a place for me in this world? That emptiness felt like a silent fire, burning from the inside out. It's important to understand that this pain isn't unique to her. Many people carry invisible scars, whether from debts that steal sleep, unemployment that drains hope, or regrets that echo endlessly. Prejudice may not always be about skin, but about life circumstances, and even so, the pain feels the same. Yet here lies a hidden turning point, because amid the darkness, a question arises, am I going to live like this forever? This question, though sounding like a lament, is also the first step toward change. It's the inner cry announcing that, despite the pain, something inside us still wants to be reborn. The turning point came unexpectedly. Anna was invited to a meeting of a support group for burn victims. At first, she hesitated. How am I supposed to expose myself even more? She thought. But when she arrived, she realized everyone shared similar pains. There were scars, stories of abandonment, but also immense strength. It was like breathing again after being suffocated for so long. Amid the conversations, one phrase etched itself in her memory. Forever scar is not shame, it's survival. Those words acted like a spark, igniting a different flame inside her. For the first time, Anna began seeing her marks not as signs of loss, but as medals of resilience. Excited by this new perspective, she began experimenting with restorative makeup. Each brushstroke was more than aesthetics. It was an act of rebuilding self-esteem. With every trial in the mirror, Anna rediscovered herself. It wasn't about hiding her scars, but highlighting the real beauty that had always been there. This process became her true rebirth. What was once silence and emptiness now gave way to inspiration. Anna not only regained confidence, but began seeing a mission helping others who, like her, believed their marks were the end. Little did she know, this was just the beginning of something much greater. Inspired by her own transformation, Anna decided to share her journey with the world. She created a page called Real Beauty, posting tips on restorative makeup, stories of resilience, and messages of self-esteem. What started as a personal space quickly became a refuge for hundreds of people carrying scars visible or invisible. Each post offered more than technique, it offered support. She showed, for instance, how foundation could soften marks, but also reminded followers that no makeup replaces the glow of someone learning to love themselves. This blend of practice and inspiration turned her into a reference, not just a woman who survived a fire. Over time, Anna began receiving invitations to speak at conferences and workshops. Men and women were moved by her words, many saying, "You gave me the courage to look in the mirror again." What began as pain transformed into a mission. She no longer carried only scars. She carried stories of resilience that helped others rise. And the most beautiful part? In this process, Anna rebuilt herself from within. She discovered that self-esteem isn't a destination, but a daily practice. Every message of gratitude she received was like a brick in her new life. The woman once abandoned was now constructing a castle of inspiration, showing that true beauty always endures. While Anna blossomed, Carlos' life took a very different turn. The man who had once abandoned her, seeing her scars as a burden, began facing his own losses. First came unemployment. His sense of security crumbled, and with it, fear of being unable to support himself emerged. Without stable income, debts piled up. Each bill felt like a reminder that life collects its dues sooner or later. He tried to maintain appearances, but inside he lived a silent fire. Friends drifted away. Opportunities vanished, and regret began to set in. The emptiness he had left in Anna seemed to be consuming him now. Even when he enjoyed fleeting pleasures parties, outings, brief moments of joy, Carlos felt hollow. The sparkle was only superficial deep down. He carried loneliness like an inseparable shadow. Those who live for appearances quickly learn that the mirror doesn't lie, the image may be intact, but the soul reveals what is broken. This decline stood in stark contrast to Anna's rise. While she transformed her scars into inspiration, he sank deeper into regret. Life's irony was clear. Sometimes the real punishment doesn't come in fire, but in the crushing weight of karma itself. Fate, always finding a way to balance accounts, eventually reunited Anna and Carlos. Exhausted and defeated, he attended an event seeking new opportunities. He had no idea that on the main stage, The evening's inspiration would be the very woman he had abandoned. When he saw her, his eyes widened not with pity, but with astonishment. Anna appeared radiant and confident, exuding strength with every word. She spoke about resilience, self-esteem, and the power of transforming scars into symbols of victory. To the audience, she was a true inspiration to Carlos. It was a painful shock. The woman he once judged as fragile was now a symbol of real beauty for hundreds. As the audience rose to applaud, Carlos felt the weight of regret crush him. Every word she spoke mirrored back the truth. He was the one truly burned by life. The emptiness he carried deepened in the face of honest transformation. There was no denying that the tables had turned. This encounter was not just coincidental, but symbolic. Life was showing clearly that no one can extinguish the light of someone born to shine. Anna didn't need to prove anything. Her presence alone was a silent answer to every prejudice, abandonment, and coldness she had ever faced. Her victory was his inevitable confrontation. After the event, Carlos approached hesitantly, asking for forgiveness. His words trembled, full of regret. "I was wrong. I shouldn't have left you. Please forgive me." But Anna, with the strength of someone who had faced far greater fires, looked him in the eyes and felt the full force of her own power. She responded calmly, leaving no room for doubt. "I don't need your forgiveness. I've learned to rise on my own, and I don't need you in my life anymore." Every syllable carried the independence built over years of resilience. Her scars were not just physical, they were symbols of a strength he could never fully comprehend. Carlos finally realized that the woman he tried to hurt with abandonment was now unbeatable. She had not only survived, but had become a reference for self-esteem and inspiration. Anna showed that true power lies not in dominating others, but in mastering oneself and transforming pain into growth. This final confrontation marked a definitive point. Karma, silent yet inevitable, always finds its way. The one truly burned was not innate, was Carlos, consumed by selfishness, cowardice, and regret. The lesson is clear. Anyone who underestimates the strength of someone in pain will sooner or later witness their own downfall. Anna's story shows something powerful. True strength comes from resilience, not comfort from others. What seemed like destruction, the abandonment, the prejudice, the fire became fuel to rebuild her life and self-esteem. She proved that scars are not weaknesses, but signs of survival and courage. Carlos, on the other hand, demonstrated that selfishness and cowardice can be the greatest scorches to the soul. While Anna turned pain into inspiration, he sank into emptiness, regret, and debt. Lives, justice, and action. Karma working silently but inexorably. If you relate to this story, remember you too can turn your wounds into lessons. Seek support, explore hidden talents, and don't be afraid to show yourself to the world. Every challenge, every fall, is an opportunity to discover a strength you didn't know existed. If this story inspires you, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. That way, you won't miss any advice on resilience, self-esteem, and inspiration that can transform your life. Remember, the power to rise is within you. Anna's story reminds us that every scar, every fall, every abandonment carries a valuable lesson. Ask yourself, how many times have you let someone else's opinion or a painful moment define who you are? How many chances to rise have you missed out of fear or insecurity? The truth is, resilience depends on a choice to look inward and find the strength that's always been there, to transform pain into learning, scars into inspiration, and moments of emptiness into new beginnings. Life tests us, but also rewards those who refuse to stay down. Let this story be an invitation to act. Seek support, explore hidden talents, share your journey, and inspire others. Your pain can become the strength for many lives, including your own. To keep receiving content that can transform your self-esteem and motivation, subscribe, like, and hit the bell. The power to rise and inspire is in your hands. You are the one who can take the first step.